beautiful creative friends, it's Belinda and I'm back with another brand new Christmas layout project to share with you today. This month, the lovely Virginia, who owns the Confessions of a Paper Addict cut file shop, is sharing 20 days of cut file, Christmas cut file inspiration over on her YouTube channel. So I will add a link to her channel down in my description box below. Unfortunately, I can't join in on all 20 days of the inspiration challenge, but I am going to join in for as many days as I possibly can, and this is my first one here today. So of course I'm using a cut file which is brand new to the shop. This is called Candy Cane Love. Now I will just say this is actually a cut file that was offered free exclusively to members of the Confessions of a Paper Addict cut file Facebook group. If you're not already a member, please do make sure that you go ahead and join. I've left the link for that in the description box of my video down below. There are still plenty of free cut files to come. If, however, you have missed out on getting this as a freebie, it is now available in the shop, so I will also leave a link to that one down below as well. Now, as you can see, I have already backed this one off camera using some beautiful pinks and reds. I love the combination of pink and red at Christmas time. You can see I've kind of gone that way with my nails as well, and some greens for the foliage. I'm trying to catch up on documenting some older photos from years past, so I've dug through my stash and found these 3 photos of my husband and I, which were taken on Christmas Day in 2016. And the collection that I'm using here is one of the Simple Stories collections from last year. I believe it was Mix-a-Mingle is the name of it. That's about it for the introduction, so let's hop on fast forward and see this one come together. Okay, so I'm starting off in the same way that I start off just about every one of my layouts, and that is by preparing my background. If you've been around for a while, this is a process that you will probably be familiar with. I don't include it on all of my videos, but I do like to include it every so often just so that you can get a glimpse into how I actually prep these backgrounds. So as you can see, I've got some white cardstock off to the left there. I've chosen that really gorgeous pink candy cane patterned paper, and I have gutted the inside of that using my paper trimmer, leaving a border of about 1 inch around the outside. Then I've trimmed my white cardstock down to 11.5 by 11.5 inches, and I'm going to use my wet adhesive just to adhere that down really lightly before I take it over to my sewing machine and add a row of stitching around the border. So for this one, I've just gone for a simple single row. I've kept it quite close to the edge, and I've chosen to use a red thread because I just wanted to really wanted to bring out the pops of red and pink in the pattern papers and in that little candy cane love heart that I've chosen. So I have already gone ahead and trimmed my photos down from when they were printed. These photos I think are about 2 by 3 inches or 3 by 2 inches. I'm adding a white cardstock mat, a really thin mat behind each of the photos. This is something that I do with all of my photos on all of my layouts and probably just about all of my projects. I love the look of a white border, and I always choose to use cardstock rather than a printed border because I just love the added little bit of dimension that it adds. So it took a little while, but off camera I did sift through all of the papers in the collection, and I've just chosen 3 to back the photos with. I thought about having them on a photo strip with just the one patterned paper behind them, but I spent a really long time actually off camera fiddling around and finding something that I was happy with, and these 3 patterns are what I've settled on. So I've got 2 different greens to go top and bottom, and then that middle one is a pattern paper that would typically be really hard for me to use. It's quite a busy pattern. It's sort of postage stamps, but it's got lots of the colors from the collection in it, so it goes really well as a backing paper for for example, for the page or for the photo, because it helps to lend a little bit of cohesiveness to the whole layout by drawing in all of the colors that you're going to see featured throughout the papers and the embellishments. Now I want to add just a little bit of dimension behind these photos, not too much. So I've grabbed out a sheet of chipboard that I have been chipping away at. This came in some packaging for scrapbooking products that I received. And I have a little folder that sits next to my desk with all of these little pieces, and I just grab them whenever I need them. So now I'm ready to have a look at sticking the photos down, and they weren't in the right order to begin with. They are now. So I'm going to adhere those photos straight on top of each other on the left hand side. Then the candy cane heart is going to be on the right, overlapping that photo that's got a little bit of extra white space there. I have gone ahead and done this off camera because I didn't want you to have to watch me fiddling around, but I'm just showing you here that I have added a tiny bit of dimension to that cut file. So the center of the heart where it crosses over is adhered flat to the page. The outside pieces, so the two little legs and the curves up the top, I've added a really thin foam dot behind those, and then a slightly thicker foam square behind each of the little foliage pieces. Now I'm going to adhere my title down. I've got pretty much everything from this collection, and it comes with these foam, I suppose, thickers. Now, mistletoe is typically not a title that I would use. It's probably the kind of thing that would just end up left unused on the sticker sheet. But since this is a photo of myself and my husband, my now husband, I thought I could make use of it. We don't have mistletoe here in Australia. So it's not something that is really associated with our Christmas, but it is still associated with Christmas. So I thought, hey, why not make this the title of this page Mistletoe Kisses, and then just talk about how he's the only one that I would want to meet under the mistletoe, which is exactly what I've done. There wasn't a great story to go with this page. It was just some little selfies taken on our second Christmas day that we spent together back in 2016. So you can see that I have now adhered my journaling down. I've typed that up on my typewriter, cut it down into strips, and then used my wet adhesive to adhere that underneath the candy cane cut file. My date, I had typed out the full word Christmas, but I realized it was just a little bit too long. So I went back, retyped it out with Xmas, and grabbed my little tab punch and punched out a red pattern paper offcut that I had. And now I'm going to start placing some embellishments around. So I'm not going super crazy with embellishments. I wanted to keep this layout pretty clean, pretty simple. I'm just going to create tiny little clusters alongside each photo. So that photo in the middle is just going to get that little piece, which is really interesting and really unique. It's like a cluster of rosettes, I suppose, but it's a printed design, so there's no dimension to it. And again, that little cluster of rosettes brings in all of the colors that you see in the title and in the pattern papers and the different embellishments that I've used. So I thought it was a really nice addition. I've got the date in that middle photo, and then just a tiny little foam holly sprig. For the photo on the bottom, I've got that little Christmas tree and the stocking, the pink stocking, but I wanted to add another little piece underneath, and then I've just added some florals to that photo at the top. I did have this little mistletoe piece, which I wanted to try and bring in somewhere. I wasn't sure if adding it into that little space made it a bit too busy, but I think otherwise without it there, that space was just a little bit too empty, so I think it looks good. And I'm finishing off in my favourite way to finish off my layouts with some Nuvo drops. I have chosen a gold to match the gold that's in the Kisses part of the title, and a really bright berry red. So that is about it. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd love for you to go ahead and leave me a comment or give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button to join me on my upcoming paper crafting adventures. Here are some close-up photos of the finished layout right now, but I will leave it there and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.